Golden Black Live, Friday, I think it's January the 18th. It's not football season. Well, it's always football season, I should say. Greg Brohm joining us, and Tom Dienhart, a member of our team now, and welcome to both of you. Tom, it's a big deal. You've been on the show before. Now you're getting paid to be on it. Big bucks.
Hey, it's always good talking Purdue sports, Purdue football. And Alan, I've known you for almost 40 years now.
I know, that's hard to believe. We're
And
not hardly over 40 years old.
And Greg.
That's what I was going to say. You must have been preschool.
Yeah.
Greg's a good-looking one in the group. I got a chance to know Greg the last couple of years, and it's always good to see you and every member of your family.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Yeah, well, I want to thank our sponsors, and we'll get to some questions, of which we have many. But Triple X on the hill, but on the level of Purdue tradition since 1929. John Basham and the good folks at Basham Rentals, Hilton Garden Inn. When tomorrow's a big day, stay at HGI tonight. They might be full this weekend with a little bit of weather coming into West Lafayette. State Farm agent Trent Johnson, TrentIsMyAgent.com, and they've been with us on the sponsors for the show for as long as this show's been going on. Greg, it's been a whirlwind. I mean, if you think about not only the fact that you guys really have only been here just over 2 years, and we were talking offline about Purdue, Indiana, in that little basketball game that's going on tomorrow, but that you guys had experiences of seeing when the men clinched the Big Ten championship. I mean, did that give you that first year or first semester before you'd actually start playing games, seeing the way Purdue fans responded to its basketball team, had to give you a good feeling that this is possible here? This fan base can get pretty jacked up.
It sure did. I mean, I remember that game that they really handled IU, and the intensity and the passion in the arena. It was wild. I mean, that was a hostile environment. And it's been that way in Ross-Ade. I have to admit, it's built upon, each week's built upon itself, and we've had some great atmospheres the last 2 seasons. And there's a passion for Purdue sports is very evident.
Yeah, and you got a chance to see that first and front and center from the get-go. Winning helps, though. That's a good thing.
It always does. It always does.
Now, the Brohm family is about as competitive a group as, and that's what I've always, and with your brother Jeff, that likes to, went on a couple of basketball road trips last year, but just the competitiveness of sport, that's attractive to be able to see, whether it's volleyball, men's basketball. You guys as a family, this is something you guys like to do.
It is something we like to do. We played 3 sports growing up, all through high school. All of us did, and my dad did. My mom played more than that. Yeah. So in their spare time, my mom and dad, they go see sporting events around town. That's what they do, and we're competitive. We a family game might be more intense than the game we have on Saturdays sometimes. But it's a part of our lives. We're not ate up with it. It doesn't consume us, but it's a part of who we are and how we grew up, and it's what we like to do. So, we're into all the sports: baseball, basketball, the women's sports. Because my sister was very big in women's sports. She played 3 sports in college, and my dad actually coached her in college in softball. And she still plays competitive volleyball, and so we're into all the sports, and we think that's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, Greg, I remember doing a story with the family about a year ago, and a lot of your family members thought your sister was the best athlete of the entire Brohm crew, and then it's fun sharing memories from you and Brian about Jeff as a baseball player. And it sounded like he may have been even a better baseball player.
Well, you know what? As a prospect, he probably was a better prospect as a baseball player. But he never thought of himself as a baseball player. And I think his senior year in high school, all of a sudden, I mean, we were playing summer baseball, and there were no scouts at the game. No scouts ever came to the game. Well, all of a sudden, one scout came one game. Very next game, there were like 6. Then there were 30 scouts at the next game. So he was just so athletic. He had a lot of power hitting. He didn't, it was a little bit, slow pace for him, baseball.
Yeah, it is slow.
And at the time, he was ready to be a quarterback, and he did play minor league baseball for 2 years. And we all played baseball. Brian even was drafted in a later round in the draft. But, we were big into baseball. My dad was big into coaching baseball, and I still have a great passion for following Major League Baseball myself.
Hey, real quick, Alan, you talked about the competitive fire, the competitive nature of the Brohms. Another quick anecdote, I was at a scrimmage last fall, and they had referees there simulating the game on a Saturday. And you should have seen Jeff getting after the referees. You would have swore it was October 15th, and they were playing Michigan. I said, oh my God, this is just a scrimmage. He was in these guys' ears like it was a Saturday in the fall. So that was yet for me another illustration of the degree to which he wants to compete.
Yeah, a switch goes off. That mild-mannered person on the sidelines, it can it turns
Hair
on.
fire.
But it's interesting because of the three brothers, and I don't know Brian, I haven't been around Brian as much. You're still a little more the outgoing. Is that a fair thing? I mean,
Probably, yeah.
Of the three personalities.
Yeah.
Jeff can turn that switch and be that way, but is that always been that way?
Yeah, you know what?
Is that
I don't
the
think any
firstborn
of us
thing?
said.
Yeah.
That's why I said I don't think any of us said 3 words until we were 18 years old. I
Okay.
mean, we were like quiet.
Yeah.
And my dad was like that too, and now
Okay.
he's very gregarious,
Yeah.
now going talkative. But yeah, I think it has always been that way. And Jeff and I are pretty much the same age. We're 1 year apart. We grew up together. Brian's so much younger
Yeah.
than us that we probably dominated the conversation. So he listens. He's a good listener. He's
that's
a good
good.
listener and very calm and composed because sometimes we're here. We're all over the place. But we each have kind of a unique personality. I think Jeff can get intense and pretty quickly, but he's real mild mannered and easy going.
Yeah. I know he can get intense. We've seen that. I think
But
my guess is you.
The thing
guys
about
all
Jeff,
can.
we all growing up. I mean, it was he and I doing sports
Yeah.
together, so we also had somebody to talk to. We talk a lot,
Yeah.
so we talk a lot about all kinds of things, and so we can be pretty frank with each other. So if one of my jobs this year, and I think I've told this at other places before, you know. One of my jobs, make sure he doesn't get too mad on the sideline. Well, there was one, and
Well,
sometimes,
what game was that?
it was the Iowa game, I believe.
Yeah.
Well, occasionally I'll get him going, and by accident I'll be like, "Did you see that?" You know. Well, it was the call where they called interference of a catch.
Right.
on the
On
player.
on the punt return. Yeah.
It was a late fair catch
Yeah,
signal,
right.
like very late. I'm like,
I remember that.
so I might have said something to Jeff, got him going a little bit. Well, I turned my head for 1 second. And he really didn't do much. I think he just stepped onto the field. There was a bunch of people on the field, but he might just step 1 foot on the field while he was arguing the call, and they threw a flag on him. Now he did look at me, and he looked, and he was. You're not supposed to let me do that. And I said, you know what? I go, you're right. I'll take that one because I turned away. I still got to keep. You're right. I don't let you get too mad, but. So we have a little relationship that we look out for each other in that regard.
You know, one thing I think I find interesting because you'll see it whether on TV or if you're watching the video screens. There's times when Jeff gets after his assistants. I mean, if something doesn't go right, boom, he's going to say something right away. And that seems to be and yet you guys all are professionals and have to have a professional relationship. How does that work? I mean, how does that? Because is it as simple as, you know, we're going to say what needs to be said and move on type of approach to all this?
Correct. The game has its own. It's like its own world.
Yeah.
The game. Okay. I mean, there are lines, of course, but the game is its own. What happens in the sideline stays on the sideline. You're trying to win the game, so you're doing things to win the game, and nobody takes it personally.
Yeah.
Our staff has a great relationship, a great chemistry, and something said. I mean, something said to try to you're executing the game play. You're doing the game. You're operating the game. I think those type of things are totally understandable. So every time Jeff's saying something, it's in regards to something happening on the field, something, you know, if he looks particularly upset, it might be something that he said earlier in the week and it came to fruition on the field, like, hey, we talked about that, those type of things. But it's a back and forth, and I think everybody who's been in this a while knows that when you're trying to win the game, that there's a little more liberty that is allowed. But it always stays within a professionalism. It always stays within good taste. I mean, it's all appropriate. Nothing ever is inappropriate. And even with players, they want to be coached. You know, but you got to make sure you're treating people with respect, and we do that. But they want to be coached, and you're coaching. That's what you're doing. So as long as it stays within the realm of coaching, I think you're good.
You got to have thick skin if you're going to work for the Brohms, right? We also know you're very competitive, right? We also know you're a very tight-knit family. And Greg, I'm fascinated. I'm sure a lot of people out there are fascinated to know what went on in the Brohm war room last December when the family was making that decision Jeff was making that decision.
Yeah.
Should I stay or should I go?
I'll tell you what, I'll probably write a book someday. Yeah, it'd be a good way to
I'll
do
help,
it.
we'll help you write it.
I tell you what, it wasn't, when you look at the situation, and it wasn't something we did, we thought someday that
This is
might
kinda-
come up.
yeah.
It might come up. We didn't think it was going to happen so fast. And with it, it was kind of, we bunkered down, really. We bunkered down as a family. And really, we aired, a lot of things came to the table. I mean, there's a deep history,
Yeah.
strong roots. This has been our whole life has been around kind of this central theme
Yeah.
of football, and we're tied to that community really well.
Sure.
And they've supported us. I mean, if you look at there's a lot of Purdue fans down in Louisville right
Yeah.
now, and they've been following us, and they support us for so many years. So it was very emotional. We aired things that happened 20 years ago, and thoughts and feelings. They would come to the table. I mean, we were doing all kinds of things and talking about everything and every aspect. The impact Purdue's made on us in 2 years has been so really dramatic.
Yeah.
The support we've gotten from Mike Babinski, Jason Bedicofer, Mitch Daniels, Mike Berghoff, it's been phenomenal. I mean, it's been phenomenal. And you just weighed the situation. Jeff thought, it was the right thing to do. But it was basically the family bunkered down, and I think I slept for about 2 days after that.
Yeah,
But it was, it was just a tough,
Oh, yeah.
heart-wrenching deal that you have to separate emotion from the facts or your thoughts and your emotions, and try to do what's best. Then you make the decision, you go with it. It's been fine. I mean, as far as the reaction there, because that is where a lot of our family is. Reaction there's been great. It's been really good, really.
You said you guys are going to go
compared-
back and hopefully do your
I
media tour?
hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I plan to because there's a lot of people there that now look at Purdue and they follow Purdue, and we want to cultivate that as a recruiting area as
Sure,
well.
as you've done.
So we're going to keep doing that. I think people there still like us. I hope. But it was a hard decision because of all the history involved. But Jeff, what we're starting to build, and you've been doing it for just a couple of years, and now, hey, you're putting the pieces in place.
Yeah, you got to taste.
Putting the pieces in place, and you've got it revved up. Let's see where it goes, and that's kind of, I think, what was one of the main factors in it.
Take me back, when in December of 2016, you take the job, and you come, and then you've been here a little over 2 years. What surprised you the most when you looked at it from the perspective of December 16 to today? What has surprised you most about Purdue and this community, or just the whole job? What anything in particular?
I tell you what, Jeff came, when Jeff was hired, he came right away.
Right.
The rest of us kind of stayed and coached the bowl game
Yeah.
at Western Kentucky.
Right.
But there was one day, maybe a weekend to Jeff being here, that I did drive up and visit. And you know what? When I spent a few hours here, and then Jeff and I kind of looked at each other, and you know what? I go, we can win here.
Yeah.
We can win here. I think you could feel it right away. You know what? We can win here. Everybody was hungry.
Yeah.
Everybody was ready. They were so welcoming.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go in, you to a new situation. If you want to make some type of changes, there's some resistance. There was no resistance. It was like, hey, we're ready. We're ready for just something different.
Yeah.
Come on, whatever you got, let's do it.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of enthusiasm. The administration and being so open to giving us whatever we need to be successful. The facility's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's such a great asset to have that. The community support is great, and at least the fan base is a reasonable fan
Yeah.
base.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Somewhat. We'll see.
Yeah.
But it is. I mean,
Yeah.
they know their games. They
Yeah.
know their sport. They understand where we stepped in and where the program was, and they understand it's going to be a process. I think, even you look at the bowl game, it's a process, it's a process. We had a phenomenal year.
Oh, yeah.
When you really look at what we accomplished and you think about the things we did, we even the year before being so good, I think we accomplished more this year. I really do. What we had to do, we had to get the 6th win on the road,
Yeah.
and the ranked teams we beat, and overcome an 0-3. You don't want to let the last game skew your view of the whole season, even though what it does do is it kind of gets your attention.
Yeah.
Okay, hey, we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
We got a long way to go. It does get your attention. It's one of those games that there's a lot of reasons for it, but it just got out of hand a little bit. Our guys kept playing hard. I don't think anybody didn't play hard, but it gets your attention. So now in the off season, we try to coach, and we coach in maybe some detail that maybe slipped through the cracks, and we're coaching it. The guys are a little more focused because whatever cracks we had in our team, I think they were exposed a little bit. We're going to shore those up. We feel really excited about next year. We think we accomplished a lot this year, and the future is only bright in our minds.
Hey, Greg, 13-13 through 2 years, 2 bowl games. Is it safe to say you're ahead of schedule?
You know what? I don't think we have a schedule in our head. We don't look too far ahead. We didn't come in the first year with a plan to be good in 3 or 4 years. We came in with hey, let's win now. That's only fair to the guys that are here. And we think the best way to build a program is to win now. So we make a decision. Most of the time, I would say, it's about, okay, what's the best decision for us to win the next game? Not necessarily this will pay dividends 3 years from now. What's the best? So if you follow that, I think it builds itself, your program. I think that I think the pieces, we're getting more pieces in place and revving it up. Hopefully, I'm not going to put a schedule though. I don't think we put it on a schedule. We do every year one. We don't sacrifice a year for the next year or anything like that. So it's just year by year. So I'm not going to put it on a schedule. But we're real happy to go to a bowl game both the first 2 years.
Sure.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, and you look ahead now, you have the start of spring ball. Talked about the last week of February. Spring games been announced April the 6th. Just some goals from that. What are you doing now as you get ready for that? Guys will be doing their conditioning as well. Tell us a little bit about the schedule from January 18th to the last week.
Well, I tell you what, yeah, the players are already back working out.
Yeah.
And I think we have their attention after the bowl game, and hey, there's a lot of things we got to fit. We haven't arrived by any means. There's a long way to go. So we've got to just become, I think, better individual football players. There's a lot of young guys to develop. We have to develop these guys and get them ready to play. We're going to start spring ball the week of February 25th. We're going to go a couple of weeks and take spring break off and come back and finish up for 3 weeks leading into the spring game. I think it's more about doing the little things, less about scheme and teaching plays and things like that. It's about becoming a better tackler, becoming a better route runner, becoming a better, a smarter football player. Okay, those little individual skills I think we'll probably focus on a lot. The young guys will get a lot of work. We got to get these young guys, all our young guys, ready to go, so I think that'll be the focus. It's more about getting ready for the season. Nowadays, when you go spring, you still got to worry about injury. We're not that deep with some of the really of our best players. Can't get any of them hurt in the spring for the fall.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, a big part of success in any organization is continuity and stability. And that's one thing the staff has pretty much had for 2 years. You lost Tony Levine after the initial campaign in 2017. No changes from the 2018 staff. I mean, does it look like it's going to make it through spring drills?
I knock on wood. I hope so. That's been a hallmark of Jeff's program ever since he's been a head coach. With these guys are the guys for the most part been with us. And even when it hadn't gone well, it's a lot of times it's easier to just work off the base you've laid instead of doing something totally new. Just build on that. And we've gotten things better over the years, even at Western Kentucky when we might have struggled in some areas. We got it better with the same guys. Let's teach it better. Let's tweak it. And we love the chemistry on our staff. We think the players respond better when you have the same guys. It's a dramatic, even with Coach Levine, Coach Tomerdahl was Coach Levine's coach in college. So it was like an offshoot of Coach Levine. So that was kind of the same type of mentality. We think it's important. Now our guys could be in demand at some point, and we might have to deal with that, and we've dealt with that before. But we like that we have a lot of the same guys who are involved with our players. they know our culture, and they're kind of part of the family, and I think it works best.
All right. He was gracious enough to come because he's got a busy Friday afternoon and has other things going on besides being on Gold and Black Live, which I know is the highlight of your
Highlight
week.
of my day,
Yeah,
for sure.
I
A
know
week.
that.
Day.
Week, yeah. Week may be pushing a little bit. All right, we'll look forward to more discussions. Some other things that'll be going on. Obviously, the Purdue Challenge too, which Jeff and Greg have been big and part of that will be April the 13th, and we'll have more on that as we get closer to that event. And obviously, all the spring football that you can handle for our readers and fans, and we look forward to doing that. Thanks so much for your time
thank you,
today.
Al.
We enjoyed it very much. We will
you.
take a short break, bring in Brian Newbert, and we'll start talk Purdue, Indiana basketball, a little football as well, and then Larry Clisby will join us in the third segment. We'll look forward to that as well on Gold and Black Live.